I've been living frugally for years, and I have come to realize that choosing to spend less goes far beyond just saving. It has transformed not only my finances, but also my entire outlook on life. In this video, I will share how these 5 stages of living frugally stack on one another to shift your mindset, your habits, and ultimately your entire way of living. Part 1. Awareness. The wake-up call. Every big moment starts with a moment of realization. In this case, it might be a growing pile of credit card debt or a bank balance that is dangerously low. For others, it could be less dramatic but just as unsettling. For example, like the constant stress of making ends meet or feeling that all the money spent on stuff hasn't brought any real happiness. The financial stress doesn't really stop at your wallet. It can spill into every part of your life. It might make you feel stuck, like you are working endlessly with nothing to show for it. While these feelings can be overwhelming, they also signal that something needs to change. You might find yourself thinking, what if there's a better way? Questioning habits. After the initial wake-up call, you might start to question the habits that got you here. Why do you buy things that don't bring lasting joy? Why do you feel the urge to spend more than you make? Or why the bank account balance is always so low? This stage can feel quite uncomfortable because it's where you start to uncover some patterns you didn't maybe notice before, like spending out of boredom, some emotional triggers, or the pressure to keep up with others. The next building block here is making a plan. You might realize that saving money is often simpler than trying to earn more. $1 of new earned income is taxed, but the dollar you already have in your pocket is not. For many, it's also way easier and far less stressful to cut back on spending than to work extra hours or take on more responsibility just to get a raise. You might also start thinking about what you want your life to look like. What would financial security mean to you? What kind of goals or experiences would you prioritize if money wasn't anymore a constant worry? These thoughts can help shape a plan, even if it's just a loose idea at this point. Feeling unstuck. It's common for people to get stuck in this awareness stage, being unable to connect their spending habits to the stress that they feel, or to never reach actually this stage at all. But if you start to see the link, things might begin to shift. You could realize that your spending habits affect not just your finances, but also your mental well-being, your time, and even your relationships. This realization can feel like the start of a breakthrough, so you start taking action. Budgeting and tracking. The first actionable step you might take is to create a budget and start tracking your expenses. You might discover patterns like subscriptions you don't use or small daily expenses that add up quickly. Even if it's just writing down your expenses on paper or using some app, this step gives you clarity. You finally feel like you know what's happening with your money, which makes it easier to focus on cutting and saving. You start buying only the essentials and the things that truly matter. It might be as simple as cooking more meals at home, canceling a streaming service, or finding ways to spend less on things that aren't priorities for you right now. Building an emergency fund or paying off debt are finally achievable goals for you. These savings give you a financial safety net, which creates a strong foundation for the future. Relief and control. The first time you see progress, like paying off a debt or saving your first $1,000, there's an immediate sense of relief. It's as if a weight you have been carrying starts to lift. There's a growing sense of control over your life. You are no longer just reacting to money problems, you are actively solving them. This one then leads to values and confidence. As you make decisions about what to cut and where to save, you might start reflecting on what is really important to you. Do you really value those fancy drinks every day, or would you rather save for a more meaningful experience? Without even noticing, this process of evaluating your spending habits helps you discover what you actually value in life. And at the same time, sticking to your budget and seeing results builds your confidence. You are proving to yourself that you can take charge of your finances and make positive changes. Investing for the future. Once you have established some financial stability, you start thinking about the long term. You might start educating yourself, for example, about how to invest this extra money you have saved. Realizing that even small contributions can grow significantly over time with compounding interest makes you excited about the future. You start to see a bright light at the end of the tunnel. And here is where the transformation starts to begin. Building resilience. The challenges of sticking to a budget, making tough financial decisions, and resisting unnecessary spending, of course, strengthen your mental toughness. This resilience doesn't just apply to money, it shapes how you approach all kinds of challenges. Your self-discipline is probably another thing that has improved, because frugality requires you to delay this gratification and stick to your goals and values even when it's tempting to take the easy route. Resourcefulness and skills. Living frugally also pushes you to become way more resourceful. You have to find creative ways to make things work with less money. You may be repurposing items, finding affordable solutions, or thinking outside the box to solve problems. Along the way, you also may develop practical skills that make you more independent. You might learn how to cook instead of eating out, repair something instead of always buying a new one, or take on do-it-yourself projects to save money. Shifting perspectives. One of the biggest shifts during this stage is how you view money. It stops being an end goal and starts becoming a tool to help you live the life you want. You begin thinking less about what is your net worth and more about how money can support your values and priorities. At the same time, you might start questioning social norms around consumption. Why do people buy so much stuff they don't need? Why is success often tied to material possessions? You might find yourself caring less about having the latest trending items and more about experiences that bring joy and peace. Gratitude and contentment. You begin to appreciate the value of what you already have, even the simple things. That old sweater or hoodie no longer feels outdated, but a valuable piece that keeps you warm. Instead of focusing on what you lack, you feel content with what you have. You might notice yourself starting to take better care of the items you already own, and you begin to see that a life built on gratitude and sufficiency is not only fulfilling, but also freeing. Part 4. Freedom. Breaking free from consumerism. One of the most liberating aspects of embracing extreme frugality is breaking free from consumer culture. Advertising, social media, and societal pressures no longer have the same pull. You see through the constant messages telling you that you need to buy this or that to be more happy or to be successful, because you have your own definition of success, so it's much easier to disregard all that. So the result of this is empowerment and flexibility. As your financial situation improves, so does your sense of empowerment. When you are not constantly worrying about money, you have the freedom to pursue passions or hobbies you once put aside. For example, you might finally take that photography course you have always wanted to try, or spend weekends starting your own garden. With lower expenses and more money saved up, you might not need to work as many hours or take on as much stress just to make ends meet. The idea of retiring early could even become a realistic option if you continue to live intentionally and invest wisely. Freedom also means peace of mind, a state that is very hard to put a price tag on. When you're not constantly worrying about bills, debt, or what you should buy next, your mental load becomes lighter. You might feel a deep sense of security that no amount of material possessions could ever match. And this peace isn't just about money. It's about knowing that you are no longer stuck in a cycle of overconsumption and financial pressure. With fewer possessions, your physical space also feels lighter and way more manageable. A clutter-free home creates a sense of order that is quite hard to achieve when your surroundings are chaotic. So you no longer waste time searching for misplaced items or feel overwhelmed by an overflowing closet. So you get more time for experiences. When your life isn't consumed by the cycle of earning and spending, something invaluable is returned to you: time. For many, this extra time opens the door to experiences that they have always dreamed of. It might be finally traveling to places that have been on your bucket list for years. For others, it's about cherishing and living fully the everyday moments, like spending quality time with family or enjoying a long morning walk. Perhaps most importantly, having time and mental clarity helps with deeper self-reflection. You begin to ask yourself what truly brings you happiness and what makes your life meaningful. So the part 5 is meaning. Value-based living. With these extra resources, you unlock the freedom and ability to live a life that is fully aligned with your values. This might mean prioritizing sustainability or dedicating your time and resources to causes that are close to your heart. When you are living paycheck to paycheck, these things often fall to the bottom of the priority list because survival and immediate needs take all your resources and attention. I think that is just natural. So value-based living is about creating a life that feels authentic and fulfilling. For some, it could mean choosing a slower, simpler lifestyle. And for others, it might involve focusing on health or building a company to solve relevant problems of our world. Stronger connections. When you have more time to spend with people, your relationships naturally become stronger and more meaningful. You are no longer rushing through life, squeezing in quick chats or surface level interactions. Instead, you can give your full attention to the people who matter most. This allows for conversations that go deeper than the usual small talk about daily routines or perhaps work. Generosity and support. Living frugally doesn't mean living selfishly. In fact, it often makes you more generous. With a strong financial foundation, you might find it easier to help others, whether that's supporting a friend in need, donating to a cause that you believe in, or maybe even giving your own time to volunteer. This kind of generosity feels meaningful because it's intentional and comes from a place of abundance, not obligation. You may finally have the ability to support local businesses and buy their products, maybe some organic food or handmade items that are more expensive, rather than supporting these mass-produced consumer products that are cheaper. Inspiring others. Your frugal lifestyle doesn't just impact you. It can impact others as well. When people see the positive changes you have made, from reducing financial stress to living a more meaningful life, they may feel very motivated to reconsider their own habits. This inspiration might come in small everyday moments, like a friend asking how you have managed to simplify your life, or someone just noticing how much more relaxed and happy you seem lately. So just by living aligned with your values, you can encourage and inspire others to take steps toward a more thoughtful way of life. And if we now take a look at the impact of these frugal choices, we can see that it is huge. It goes way beyond just saving a few bucks. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to stay kind and meaningful in your own beautiful journey. See you in the next one. Ciao.